शेड्यूलिंग प्रॉब्लम ना?
हाँ करवाना है, पर मुझे एक एक्स्ट्रा डाउट था, इसलिए मैं
हाँ
लेक्चर
हाँ
से
हाँ
पहले पूछ रहा हूँ।
हाँ, बोलो बोलो बोलो।
तो मेरा लिंक्डइन कंपनी है, उसका इंटर्नशिप का कोडिंग राउंड था लास्ट वीक, तो उसमें शेड्यूलिंग का ग्रीडी अप्रोच ही आया था। मतलब शेड्यूलिंग ही करना था, थोड़ा सा उसका वेरिएंट डिफरेंट था, पर था ऐसा शेड्यूलिंग। तो मैंने वो ग्रीडी से किया है, तो क्या इसको डायनेमिक से करना होता है या फिर ग्रीडी से ही इसका ऑप्टिमाइजेशन?
There are both approach, greedy and dynamic, right? So you can do using the greedy also, you can do is using the dynamic also. So if you follow the basically whenever we talk about the optimal solution, so you can follow both approach, right? Both are using for the optimal solution. Basically if you follow the greedy, so there are some predefined steps, and you can know that key, if you are choosing the particular slot which is higher number, so you can do it, right? So steps are very less in case of greedy. If you follow the डायनेमिक, सो देर आर टेबुलेशन मेथड, तो यू कैन से दैट कि आपको ज्यादा स्टेप्स परफॉर्म करने पड़ेंगे व्हेन यू गो फॉर द डायनेमिक, राइट? सेम इफ यू इम्प्लीमेंट, then also you have to give the more for loop and more extra requirement for the dynamic approach, right? बट इफ यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट द फ्यूचर अप्रोच कि यही अल्गोरिदम आपको फ्यूचर में भी यूज करना है और फ्यूचर का बेनिफिट देख के आप उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहते हैं, तो यू शुड गो फॉर द डायनेमिक, क्योंकि ग्रीडी क्या करेगा, करंट सिचुएशन के अकॉर्डिंग द बेस्ट रिजल्ट इट विल बी गिवन बाय द ग्रीडी, राइट? तो अगर फ्यूचर में भी आपको अच्छे से परफॉर्म करना है तो यू कैन गो फॉर द डायनेमिक।
और वो मैम हमने जो कॉइन चेंज किया था, उसमें हमने देखा था कि कई बार ग्रीडी फेल भी होता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि ग्रीडी हर बार ऑप्टिमाइज ही
हाँ
देगा।
हाँ, नहीं नहीं, फेल होता है, यस करेक्ट। तो दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव अ डायनेमिक अप्रोच। तो डायनेमिक में भी आप मेकिंग चेंज पढ़ोगे, वो मैं कल ही मेकिंग चेंज आपके इसके बाद नेक्स्ट है, तो कल मैं लेक्चर में एक्सप्लेन करूंगी कि हाउ यू कैन परफॉर्म मेकिंग चेंज विद द डायनेमिक। ओके, so only 11 students are there, where are others? Okay, so 4.3 is remaining and 5.1 is there, right? So you have to perform two algorithm today, that is 4.3 and 5.1. 5.1 is already done in classroom. I already explained the binomial coefficient, right? So you have to implement the binomial coefficient. I'll explain the 4.3, which is the activity problem. Wait a minute, it is opening. ओके, ये ओपन नहीं हो रहा है, फाइन, आई विल एक्सप्लेन द प्रोसीजर, राइट? बायनोमियल कोफिशिएंट ऑलरेडी मैंने ही क्लास में कराया है, सो आई नो दैट दिस इज डन। ओके, so 5.1, that is the binomial coefficient, right? So you have to implement the binomial coefficient. You know that ki what are the procedure for recursive approach, right? कैसे करना है, there is two formula. Okay, so accordingly you have to implement it. I'll explain the scheduling activity problem, or activity problem we can say that. Okay, so I'll explain procedure, you have to implement it. Just a second, I'm sharing my OneNote. Yes, OneNote is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so activity problem. Right. So basically, the activity problem is very simple. If you have n number of activities, so optimization solution here we follow the greedy approach, right? So if assume that you have n number of activities, right? So n number of activities which will be associated with the start time and exit time, right? So if I'm talking about that ki, let's talk about the activity of the workshop, right? तो अगर workshop की बात करें या फिर there are peer learning session and there are so many expert session also there, right? In so there are some start time कि अगर 2 o'clock है, there are finish time also 2 to 4, 2:30 to 4:30, right? So every activity has some start time and finish time, right? So here we have assumed that we have n number of activities and n number of activity which is associated with its start time and exit time. So let's take SI and SJ. I have a two activity. Currently, I assume that I have a two activity I and J, right? If you have to choose now here, what is the condition? You have a number of activity and you have a limited slot, right? And you have to choose that particular activity which gives a better or maximum count, right? Here the condition is the maximum count. Those activity who gives the maximum count, we have to choose the activity. Again, this is a maximization problem, and whatever activity you include in the output or in the list, that should be a non conflict होना चाहिए, right? So कैसे हम check करेंगे? Yes, any problem Chintan?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so there are some start time. We have to check the start time SI for the activity 1, which is greater equal to of the finish time of J, or you have to check the finish time, start time of the J activity, which is greater or equal to finish time or not. Okay, so we'll see how you can going to implement main thing that you want to include the maximum count, that this is the maximization problem. Okay, now how you can represent or what the input data should be there in the implementation and what output will be there. So आपको activity act and you will take array. Here you can put n number of activity, whatever activity you want you can put over here. You have to give the start time for that particular activity and you have to give the finish time there for that particular activities, and your output should be like that solution and something else, right? Okay, now we'll see that how activity problem is occur. Here again, जब मैंने dynamic start किया था class में, मैंने बोला था कि whenever we'll go with the greedy approach, that is predefined procedure, right? जैसे मैं बोलूँ कि मुझे minimum spanning tree find करना है, तो we know that for the minimum spanning tree we have a knapsack Kruskal algorithm, Prim's algorithm, right? If you want to find the shortest path, so there are some algorithm for the shortest path, so you have to follow the fixed steps. बट डायनेमिक में ऐसा नहीं होगा, यू हैव टू ट्राई आउट ऑल द पॉसिबल सॉल्यूशन फॉर द बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन, राइट? तो यहाँ पे फिक्स स्टेप है, तो दिस आल्सो वन काइंड ऑफ द ग्रीडी अप्रोच एंड विल फॉलो द फिक्स स्टेप. So these are the 6 steps available for the scheduling activity problem, or we can say that activity problem. So step 1, so whatever data you have to arrange in the ascending order based on the finish time. So we know that every activity has associated with the start time and finish time, and आपको उसको ascending order में arrange करना है, right? Second thing, whatever first activity you have, according to this ascending order, add into the solution, right? आपको उसको solution में add करना है. The third step is that you have to repeat the step number 4 and 5. Right? Now, what is the step number 4? You have to check the value for the previous activities which is greater than the starting time of the current activity. Assume that my current activity is A2 and my previous activity is A0. I have to check the start time of my current activity and the finish time of the previous activity. Okay, SI and SJ. It's greater than or equal to, if this condition true, add into the solution. Otherwise, don't add into the solution. Understand what step 4 says that? अगर आपका start time of current activity which is greater or equal to than the previous activity of the finish time, then you have to add into the solution, right? Then you go for the next activity and then print the solution. So these are the steps. We'll see one by one. So I have a table. Table is visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll clear out this thing. Okay, So we have a question, and the question has finish time such activity A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. I have a 6 activities over here and activities associated with the start time and finish time, right? Okay. So here see that key first of all, step number 1, that we have to arrange into the ascending order based on the finish time. So which one is that ascending order? 2, 4, 6, 7 and then 9, 9, right? 2, 4, 6, 7. So accordingly we'll arrange the activity A2, यहाँ पे A2 A3 होगा, A3 A4 A5 A1 A6, right? तो ascending order में हमने कर दिया. Now what is the step 2? You have to add the first activity in the solution. So what is the first activity? A2. So whenever we'll maintain the solution, we'll add the first activity into the solution. So what our solution will become? What output will be look like this? For the output you have to maintain the solution. So you add the activity, first activity in the solution A2. Now I'm on the second activity, which is A3. Now we have to follow the step number 4. Step number 3 and 4 and 5 you have to repeat for the activity. Step number 6. What is step number 6? That check the current activity start time. So I am here and check the previous activity finish time. That is greater or equal to? Yes or no? Start time of current activity is greater than the equal to of the previous time of the finished activity. Yes or no? 3 is greater or equal to 2? Yes. Then add into the solution. Now I'm moving on to the activity number 4. Again I am on the start time of the activity 4 and I am again on the previous activity finish time 4. It is greater or equal to? It is greater or equal to? Bolo?
No, ma'am.
No. So we can't include this into the solution. Activity 4 not be in the solution. Now I am into A5 and my previous activity is A3. Again, I'm checking that start time for the current activity 5 and the previous time. So that is greater or equal to, I add into the A5. Now I am on the A1. A1 का start time देखेंगे 5, 7. That is less than. So I can't include A1. Now I'm on A6. What is previous activity? A5. A5, 7 and 8. 8 is greater than, yes. I'll add into the A6. So this is my solution. How you can represent? You have to represent like start time and finish time, and this is the solution that you have to print. Clear procedure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So simple. You have to take the array, right? You have to give the input data. You can take the activity. आप lab manual देखोगे, अभी मेरा ये open नहीं हो रहा है यहाँ पे. But if you see the, yes, it is open up. Just a second. Yeah. See, here the activity is given to you. Right, this is the start time, 9 activities. So A1 to A9 you can consider, A1 to 11 is you can consider, and start time is given over here. You have to select the some activity for the maximum utilization of the, here the suppose you have n number of activities, seminar hall, तो आपको seminar hall को maximize utilization करना है, तो these are the activity that using that. So which activity you have to choose, the procedure you know. So you have to implement this, and binomial coefficient, because this is already done in classroom. I'm not repeated again for the binomial coefficient. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now implement it. Whenever the 4.3 is completed, drop the message into the chat box that 4.3 is done. Then work for the 5.1. Okay, now start working on it. Yes, yes, sure. Right, both practical 4.3 and 5.4. So just go for the hackering and dynamic programming. Just read the problem. जितना कोई भी आपको relevant लगता है तो try to implement it. जिनका दोनों हो गया है वो, ठीक है? Then we'll see the next practical in the next. अगर वो हो गया है तो please check the hackering problem. After doing hackering problem, please tell me कि कौन सा आपने perform किया है, right? So explain me after that. Right? I will take the attendance from there. File system का expert talk है for the operating system, so join in that. Right? Link you have and code also you have. Join in that. You may leave from here. Yes.
Actually, in between, for some few minutes, I have been gone out for medical reason.
Okay, I'll note down your number. You can leave now.
Okay,
Join
ma'am.
in.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.